Hey everybody out there, Chris and Mike here, and welcome back to another Dark Avenger Comic Book review. In this video, we are going to be reviewing the books that came out of DC Comics the week of
August 27, 2014, the last week of August.
That's right, guys, this is a week late. A really long week late, and that is due to several reasons. If you want to know those reasons, check out the previous video, which was the Marvel review. But really quickly, the 1000th video, first week of work, and now the fact that I'm going to be on a heavy different schedule for the next couple of weeks at least. Definitely threw everything off, and I'm a little upset about that. My schedule is completely thrown upside down for the next unknown amount of time, but again, we all have to get through things. Next week begins 5 years later, and guys, we are getting every single one of the one-shots, including Future's End, including Batman Eternal, including anything that's digital that we normally get, like Smallville and stuff like that, plus Justice League 33.
Right.
Or 34, whatever issue it is, Justice League. It's coming out the first week of September. We will be covering every single one of the one-shots, so you can look forward to full coverage of every single one-shot from the first week of September to the last week of September from both myself and Michael on the Dark Avenger Comic Book reviews. So DC Comics for the next 4 weeks after this episode is going to be really fun, it's going to be really interesting, and it's going to be full of a lot of 3D goodness.
Oh yeah, lots of it.
Look forward to the haul right after this video. I'll be shooting all 3 videos tonight, and then tomorrow will be this episode's indie review, and hopefully if maybe we can get through the DC and Marvel books, it'll be the big 2 again. If not, probably look for it Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, and then hopefully after that everything will go back to normal. Please. I've been waiting since the beginning of the summer for things to get back to normal. Digital first books, as always, go first. So let's start with Batman Beyond Universe, issue number 13. We're away from the Justice League now. This book is just Batman Beyond this time, which for me, I kind of feel bad because I enjoyed the stories with Superman Beyond in it. And at this point, it's a 2-part story, so I guess for 2 issues it's not a big deal, but I kind of miss those extra stories inside of Batman Beyond. But anyway, this issue focuses on Phantasm, and Andrea is going after the person who killed Terry's father, and basically Terry didn't know that person, I'm not going to say who it is, you could read the book. He didn't know that that's the person that shot his father. We get a lot of flashbacks with Barbara and Batman. And there's something that happened in this book that I want to make mention of that I did not like at all, but we'll get into that. Basically, Bruce gets involved because he doesn't want Terry to kill the person who killed his father, and also and Phantasm's involved. So Terry ends up back at the Batcave. Bruce kind of tries to give him the whole song and a dance that he never heard of Jack Chill, but I won't say who the real person was. And Terry thinks that Bruce is lying, so who does he go to? Dick. And Dick is the one that, he says, "Dick, tell me what happened." And he's like, "It's not just my tale to tell." That's when Barbara shows up, and we get the flashback in the past where Barbara and Dick started dating after the tragedy that happened with Tim. And here we go, spoilers here, but this is like literally 2 months old now almost, so this shouldn't be too much of a spoiler unless you only read this physically like myself. Barbara ends up pregnant, and you think it's Dick's child, but it turns out this is the biggest freaking twist of all. It was Bruce's, because apparently Batgirl and Batman for a short time ended up together.
Wait a minute, isn't that how Batman and Robin split it up?
No, Robin left Batman because Batgirl was always being put in the line of danger.
Oh, I thought it was that reason.
It was after Nightwing left to Bullhaven that this happened. And basically she's pregnant because her and Batman had spent the time together. Dick didn't take the news so well at the end of the issue. Barbara ends up trying to save this family that's being mugged, and she goes down. So Dick is beating on Bruce, and Barbara is having what looks like to be contractions. The one thing I don't like that this book kind of really turned me off to the Batman Beyond universe is the fact that Batman had a relationship with Batgirl. That never happens. I'm sorry. But even stretching, you know, the stretch of this whole it's Batman Beyond, so it's not really mainstream, that really pushes the envelope for me just a little bit, because that just doesn't feel like
That
Bruce.
doesn't make any sense.
I don't see Bruce and Barbara ever together. Dick and Barbara always had the chemistry, but to throw the little twist in there, that was kind of a weird twist, more than, it's not even funny weird.
No,
it's
I'm just saying it's just
I didn't
why?
like that. I really, at the end of the issue, I was like, this really, I don't like this. The final issue, unfortunately, of Adventures of Superman, issue number 16. And this is a story, this entire story spans the entire book. And it's Superman through the ages. It starts off with Superman in his old costume back in 1938. I want to try to get a good picture of it. And it turns out Superman ends up trying to save this spaceship that, rocket that's crash landing back towards Earth, and the rocket disappears. And all throughout the rest of the book, Superman is trying to find a way to get closer to saving the rocket, because it's out there in a different dimension. The second story has more of a classic Superman costume, Superman, and Mitzelflick actually is the one that's that shows him that the ship is still out there. Superman just can't reach it yet. But he has faith in Superman. I love Mitzelflick because he always, as bad as he was, he still, he wasn't completely evil at certain points. He was more of a, oh, what's a good word? An anti-villain? I guess we could say
anti-hero.
Sort of, but not a hero. Anyway, we then go back to 1926 where Clark is just a kid jumping around, and then we go billions upon billions of years later, and Superman finally is able to tear through the dimensions and get to the ship. Nice dialogue, and then it kind of ends with Superman saying, I'm sending you off into this new world and we'll both go there. I'll be there with you and we'll go together. And that's it. It ends in a flash of white. And of course, every story has a different artist. There's three stories, three different artists. I love this issue. I'm not gonna lie. I just, it's sad to see this go. It really is sad to see Superman go. I don't know why the New 52 Superman had to be on the cover, but this was a really great book. And that's it for the digital first books. Now we go into the regular books. The Flash issue 34. Flash goes up against, I forget the detective's name, but the mashup killer, whom is Lieutenant Seaborn. Was it Lieutenant?
Seaborn.
Or Captain Seaborn. Anyway, the whole beginning of the issue is Flash fighting Seaborn, and finally, in the end, he gets captured. But Barry finds out that there's something wrong with the Speed Force, and he actually tells Patty that. Thank you. And Patty's concerned about Barry, and she wants Barry to figure it out. He says he will, but he has to deal with something else first. He brings Wally and Iris to Iron Heights Penitentiary, where Wally has a sit-down with his uncle Daniel, a.k.a. Reverse Flash. And he says, you know, I did wrong, I was wrong, Flash did what he had to do. Basically saying, you know, he's where he belongs, and not for Wally to turn out like him. Wally leaves, and then we find the truth out that Barry's basically going to be paying him for doing that, basically for the rest of his life. And if the money stops, Daniel says maybe he'll make another call. So Daniel's still a disgusting, sick, twisted SOB, and I can't stand him. But we also find out 7 years in the future that obviously Daniel becomes Reverse Flash again. And who knows, maybe Daniel's the reason why there's a problem with the Speed Force. And basically, Barry's there at that moment in time to save Wally, and then to end, of course, Reverse Flash, and then he's looking to go further back in time and basically end himself.
Right.
The end. To be continued, ironically, actually, in 5 years later, because remember, Flash is running backwards in time. So Barry right now is almost at the point where it's 5 years later. So probably they'll show Barry getting to that 5 years later mark, and then showing what's going on with the future Flash and running into maybe Wally West becoming the Flash, because it's the fight for Wally West's life. So to be honest, this is going to continue actually in September. I can't wait to see the Flash issue. Superman issue number 34. Ulysses comes, basically he's back with his parents now. And there still is somebody watching Clark. We just don't know who it is. Ulysses and his parents have their moment where Ulysses explains what happened to him after he showed up in the alternate dimension, how he ended up back on Earth. Ulysses' mom is what's the word I'm looking for? Very happy that her son is still alive. She tells Superman how much she appreciates what he did and how he brought their son back to them. There was a funny moment with Superman and Ulysses about sleep. It turns out that something, what was it? There's an attack. There's from the creatures that attacked in the previous issue, which was with the monkey, the giant monkey, I forget his name, Titano. So they track it to a scrapyard where Superman goes underground, and it turns out there's this guy underground.
Whoa.
Or there's this machine underground, this little nanobot that attaches to Ulysses' head and takes control of Ulysses. And the person who's doing that is the machinist.
It looks like Iron Man.
Doesn't it now? This is a selfie cover, by the way. And Superman goes up against the machinist, and Ulysses actually takes the fight a bit too far and tries to kill the machinist. Thank you. But it turns out the machinist thought one step ahead, and Ulysses didn't kill the machinist, he killed an innocent person. This was actually a very average read this week. I'm still having a very hard time with John Romita Jr.'s art. It just doesn't feel like Superman to me, but I'm struggling through it.
Alright, HeMan, Master of the Universe, issue number 16. HeMan and Adora are wanted by this machine that saw them from the last issue. Artwork's really fantastic, I'll give you that. It's basically He-Man and Adora just trying to, they're going on the adventures, trying to find out about, about a certain guy, I think Gar, that they're trying to look for. So, Adora goes off in the forest, and He-Man was going to go after her, but the people in Temple said not to do that because there's stuff that goes on in the forest, and that she would turn up back again, because Swiftwind, the horse, went in the forest. So they try to find their way out, and she meets up with that looks like He-Man, a ghost of some type. I mean, if you want to know more, you could definitely read the book. And Triclops actually makes an appearance in this issue, from what we saw, because He-Man saying, you say you're going to bring her back, and all that happened. But then in the end, Adora did, let's just say that there's something about the sword of what she did to He-Man. Basically, the farce changed her in different ways, and it's really something else. I mean, I don't want to give too much away, because basically you should definitely see the book to experience what I read.
First of two Lantern books this week. Sinestro, issue number 5. The big old fight. Well, not fight at first. It's an argument between Hal Jordan and Sinestro. Hal is pissed off that Sinestro is alive and he didn't know about it. And not alive, but basically he's still out there leading the Yellow Lanterns. Sinestro's pissed off that Hal Jordan's even there, trying to interfere with his business, with his people. Hal is more concerned about Sinestro with Parallax, that he was infested with Parallax. He did take Parallax in at some point, and he's worried that Sinestro can't control Parallax. And really, that's a bulk of the argument that Sinestro and Sinestro told him, I was Parallax. I wanted to be alone. I released Parallax, and I basically was empty. I was ready to die. And then he says how Lisa Dark showed up and brought him back, and that's where it leads into Sinestro issue number 1. And Hal is still on him about, it's not something he can control, with Parallax. And then, out of nowhere, he says, "Rise, Parallax," and Parallax comes out from his suit and attacks Hal Jordan and literally beats the crap out of him. And then Sinestro literally just snaps his fingers and says, "Down," and he tells him, and he basically pulls him back into his emblem on his chest. And he basically makes Hal Jordan look like a chump. He basically says, "I've done what you couldn't even do. I've tamed Parallax. Parallax knows that I'm now his master. He is not mine. And you wanted to cow me. You didn't come here to question me. You wanted to push me to make yourself look like the better person." But basically he didn't. So he's like, "How foolish you must feel right now." And he takes his people and he leaves. And Hal Jordan is just... He really has, there's nothing. He just says, "Just go and look after your people." He was beat. And, literally, and embarrassed. So, when Hal goes back to the Green Lantern, Sinestro is very happy because now nobody knows what Sinestro really can, they don't know what to expect from Sinestro. And that's exactly what he wants them to feel, exactly what he wants them to think. Fear and worry. Really good. Sinestro one-up Hal in a way that I never thought I would actually say was really... In a way, Hal Jordan was trying to push Sinestro to do something, and when Sinestro wouldn't do it, and he actually said to Hal, "Okay, you want to look like the good guy?" Boom, and what happened? When Parallax happened? Basically, he made Hal Jordan feel like a chump, but Hal Jordan, I gotta be honest, was asking for it in a way.
The final issue of All-Star Western featuring Jonah Hex, issue number 34. There were ups and downs about over the issues of the All-Star Western. And basically it's all about Jonah Hex and I always forget her name. Black Tanith, I think her name.
Whatever.
Well, yeah, they go back to this to the Wild West and everything, and of course, also Jonah Hex actually meets with his own self of Jonah Hex when he had the scars and everything, and I think this relates to what happened in the past issues or something. And meanwhile, he goes back to the bar along with Black Talith, and he actually kills himself, Jonah Hex, and when he does that, I guess that explains why his stuff was displayed in the museum in the future, so that kind of actually now gave me an understanding of how and why his stuff was there. So afterwards they go off in a pirate way, I guess, since that's the way it looks like.
So basically, he doesn't fake his own death, but he kills himself to make it look like he's dead.
Right,
and then he just disappears.
Exactly. So that's why that happened.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So yeah, it was good. So that's the end of that issue, and that's lots of comics are being canceled. I'm reading, but that's the way it is.
Red Lanterns issue 34, the final fight between Guy Gardner and Atrocitus, and what a fight! I will show you guys some images and whatnot. I'm not going to spoil anything except the ending, because I got to talk about this ending. It was freaking awesome. So anyway, in the end, of course, Guy Gardner beats Atrocitus. he actually takes the ring off. He has Atrocitus down, and Atrocitus is like, you know what? He's like, you know what? I didn't. He basically, Atrocitus says to Guy, "You stole the ring from me." And Guy's like, "I didn't steal it. You couldn't keep it." And he shows him. He pulls the ring off, and we all know once you pull the Red Lantern ring off, you have no heart anymore. So he starts to die, and the ring is scanning for a new host. And instead of going to Atrocitus, who has his hand out, and that was Atrocitus' ring, it goes back to Guy Gardner. And so do all the other rings. And basically he gets super powered. And then he takes Atrocitus' ring and destroys it. And he also takes all the other Red Lantern rings in and destroys them as well. Without killing the Red Lanterns, by the way. He takes them off, and they are the Red Lanterns survive it. But he also gets rid of. He also takes off his Red Lantern ring, so he isn't a Red Lantern anymore. Technically, he gives the Red Lanterns over to Rancor and Bleeze. They are now the police of Sector 2814, minus one planet, Earth, which Earth, Guy Gardner says, is all his. And you just see him on Earth, you know, average person, but he still has the Red Lantern ring around his neck. So,
yep.
There's a possibility of Guy Gardner showing up in Red Lanterns again at some point. Charles Soule is leaving Red Lanterns, by the way. He is becoming a Marvel exclusive writer. So Charles Soule is going to be leaving almost every book he's writing for DC, which has me very worried for issue number 35 of Red Lanterns. Because now that his run on Red Lanterns is over, I jumped on when he started. I'm worried that things aren't going to look so hot for Red Lanterns anymore, and the book is going to get dropped again. We'll have to wait and see, but really excellent story. I would definitely recommend it.
I'm going to be brief with this, guys. Justice League Dark issue number 34. And
that scared the crap out of me.
Sorry, that was a tease, just testing and all that. So,
that's
overlooking
loud.
Sorry about that, guys. We're okay. Everything's okay. So,
I would hope so.
So yeah.
Jesus Christ, I jumped.
Alright, so yeah, here's the artwork. The story here is just about Dead Man's story, about you know, the House of Mystery, and basically it's John Constantine trying to get out of the spell that he had him under. And in the last issue, we find out what Dead Man looks like, you know, when he's not dead. He's now mortal again. And there's like a whole huge dialogue that he has with someone, and you know, it was just all about, he just wanted to know, like, about Nada Pabbit, you know, because that's where everything started from there. And there's other things too. It was like a whole thing. I mean, it's really like long dialogue. Like, basically you guys are going to have to read a book. I mean, he does become dead again. I mean, who didn't see that coming? And they fight off against Fanian. I think that's how you say his name, which is that creature right there. And Dead Man comes back to the Justice League Dark team to fight alongside with them, and that leads to now 5 years later, where we'll find out what happens there for the Justice League Dark team. But this was good. Just all about Dead Man, but it was interesting.
We're on the weeklies now. Batman Eternal issue number 21. Man, I cannot spoil this for you guys. I know issue 22 is out already, and everybody basically knows, but the ending is something I can't spoil on this episode, at least. We'll talk about it in the next episode. But let's just say Lieutenant Bard isn't what he seems. Batman threatens Carmine Falcone because he leaves, never to come back again, and Carmine's like, you think it was me that did all this? No, there's a lot more that's going on than even you know. And he's like, he says, what was it? That this person accomplished more than he did, and that everything that's going on is just the beginning. Like I said, Detective Bard's is not what he seems. Batman has the evidence he needs to prove that Jim Gordon is innocent. Alfred gets attacked, like I said. Jason Bard turns out not to be who he is. Duh. Who didn't see that coming? And it turns out somebody else is pulling the strings, but we already know that because that's the person that attacked Alfred. It just turns out that Jason Bard is working for that person. Twist time! Issue 21 is the end of Chapter 1 of 3 for Batman Eternal. So Chapter 1 is over. Starting with issue number 22 begins Chapter 2.
Alright.
Future's End issue number 17. All is finally revealed here, and we all knew it. I kind of had a feeling about it. Superman isn't what he seems. It turns out that, well, first of all, Cadmus, the, what do they call, the OMACs, turn on the scientists, and all the Earth 2 superheroes are somehow freed and under some type of a mind control.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
And, unfortunately, Grifter is under the mind control also, but he gets knocked out right away. What was her name? Amiko becomes the next Green Arrow. However, there's a twist to this. Later on, they want to go back to the island.
Yeah, that's the thing. Why do they have to go back to the island?
I read the next issue of Future's End. Don't worry, I'll explain to you in the next episode.
Yeah, because I'm trying to figure that out.
So we have Superman versus Rampage, and Lois gets mixed up in the mix, and we finally get the big reveal that Superman is, spoiler alert here, Shazam. Because Superman says the word Shazam and goes back to normal. And now Lois and Billy are in trouble because Rampage is still there. And then the end of the issue, since we found out that Billy was pretending to be Superman, we find out where the real Superman is. He's somewhere out in the desert, refilling a dried up reservoir, so to speak, with water.
Well, that's...
It ends with that. John Constantine actually is the one that finds Superman.
Yeah, there's another issue with him on the cover.
To be continued. And next week with the one-shots, one of them is Action Comics, and Action Comics actually explains a little bit about where Superman is right before this issue or right before what the events of the next issue. So it'll give you a little bit more insight on where Clark is a little bit before this book. Not like years before, but at least a couple of days maybe before the events of this issue. And with that, that's it for this comic review, guys. Don't forget to check out comic-related, Comic Frontline, and Zone4Podcast.com. Together, we are your #1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. Look forward to the big one-shots beginning next week. 5 years later commences. And we got lots of stuff coming from all over the place, from tons of different channels all across the board. So look forward to all of that as well. And until next time, everybody, take care, keep reading, keep collecting, and we'll see you guys in the next review.
Later, everybody.